LKN. I mean, you got to take good morning before you just get into it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're feeling it and you're just going. So I'm feeling it this morning. I'm feeling good. Running back and forth. Justin Ckezepis. And I left my coffee in the car, though. I'm at a point where I just take the cup. I had the to-go thermoses for a while. You know, so if you're going to get on the road, my big thing in the car is like, I don't want to spill in the car. But it's bound to happen. I got 2 kids, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. Spills and messes are our life. It's kind of like just what I say now when people say, oh, well, what's going on? Well, you know, life's messy. Life's messy. But I left the coffee in the car before I came up to the studio. And then, so it's like, you know, we try to hit right at about the exact time. So go ahead and pull it. You got Simeon running right now? Pull that down. Yeah, there we go. So, a little discombobulated. Yesterday we had the satellite issue. I don't know if you all heard. So Todd Starnes normally airs on noon to 3. Got a bunch of calls. Got a bunch of calls from people. Where's Todd Starnes? Todd Starnes isn't on the radio right now. I'm blaming it on this solar flare-up. You guys seen this stuff, this whole Northern Lights thing? Mike Jackson talked about it yesterday. Look, some articles talked about it may hit North Carolina. Some say it didn't. I'm convinced we're being affected in some way, shape, or form with our satellites. Frank Horvath, our engineer, is looking into that with these metrics and these solar things and these analytical concepts that his brain comprehends that mine never could. But I'm pretty sure something's going on right now with this solar flaring. Because when you get satellite feeds in, right, that hit on the mark to the second, it's satellite. Like, satellite isn't something new. But then, like, things just start going haywire yesterday. I'm like, wait a second. Whoa. 2 options here. Solar flare-ups or Russian interference. Which one is it? Because that's the mantra. Like if you're Russian, I'm sorry. You're going to be the butt of a lot of jokes, probably for a while. It's not your fault. It's just the way of the world right now. There's a lot going on. Justin Ckezepis, good morning, LKN. 844 Studio 4. Maybe your morning has started like mine. Maybe you left your coffee somewhere. Maybe Bill's saying absolutely not. Maybe you left your coffee. You ever left your coffee on the hood of your car and drove off? I don't think it's been coffee for me, but I've definitely left like my lunchbox. I have a lunchbox, like it's a classic, you know, like LL Bean, like, hey, welcome to school. I've left that on the tailgate and it's gone. It's just, you know, neighbor's dog has a good mid-morning snack on their walk, you know? What's your day like? 844 Studio 4. You can call and chat with us. Had some good calls yesterday. Would love to hear from you. Got some more events pouring into the WSIC events calendar, by the way. If you want to say what's going on in your community, you know who came back again with another event? Statesville Elk Lodge. They came back with another event. They got like a pool hall thing going on. Yeah, I still have the speaker for them. We told them I'm gonna go by there. I got the brand new WSIC swag Bluetooth speaker. I'm gonna bring it by to the Elk Lodge in Statesville. Drop them off to those fine folks. I got that steak dinner coming up toward the end of July. So check out the WSIC events calendar. You can submit it for free. Tell the community what's going on. We'll see what's going on here. Today's a big day. I'm excited. You may have heard Representative Jason Sain's show last week, All Things Sain. It was the first airing of it last Wednesday. So Representative Jason Sain has joined our lineup. So every Wednesday from 11 to 12, Representative Jason Sain, he reps Lincoln County. Shout out Lincoln County. Big fan of Lincoln County. Big fan of Denver. Big fan of Lincolnton. And several of the other towns, whether incorporated or unincorporated, within Lincoln County. Lincoln County's booming. You're driving up 16, right? You can take the straight shot directly into the city, down 16. You made that drive yet? You just put that thing on cruise control. Now, when you hit about Mount Holly, when you hit Mount Holly area, right, or you get there. Does it turn into Brookshire, Bill? I was trying to remember. Does it like kind of like the road name changes, or does it just stay at 16? So it does turn into Brookshire.
Yeah, I believe it turns into 277.
277. See, I'm confused. Like the whole road name thing, like, so having grown up here, I still don't have like 115 and 21 down yet. I'm going to be honest with you. And I've been here 30 years, and I still like just call it Statesville and Old Statesville. I can't, I always forget, like, am I on 150? Someone's like, oh, I'm on 115. I'm like, okay, well, I've narrowed it down to 2 roads. That's pretty good. Mathematically, I've got a pretty decent chance of knowing where you're at. But the day is still a struggle. And with all the road changes and all the things going on, there's a lot going on in North Carolina. And so Representative Sain, it's not that he's just the local representative, which is great. We want all the local representatives. But Representative Sain is also the House chair, the House conference chair. I'm pretty sure he's on appropriations too. Like, is he chair, co-chair? I can't remember off the top of my head. But this dude does a lot. You talk about a lot of the leadership we've got in our local area. I think about beyond even Representative Sain. You know, Representative McNeely, Senator Sawyer. We've got some top dogs in our local area representing us at the state level. That's what we want. That's a good thing. Because you want people representing you that understand what it takes to get into the room, be at the table. We want our community at the table at all of the discussions, which is why we've updated the lineup. It's why we've improved it. This is why we've gone even deeper on the local community. Yesterday, hometown hour, Mooresville coming in strong, 11 o'clock, Tuesdays. You had Mayor Miles Adkins and Megan Suber, the communications director of communications and marketing. Although she said director of marketing and communications, I think we need to narrow that down. Is it communications or is it marketing first? You know, because there might be a website snafu that needs to be corrected. Either way, respectable show. They were just pouring out all the wonderful things going on in Mooresville. And I told you, on the 4th of July, Mayor Atkins, we stopped by the Stars and Stripes on Main Parade, their 150th anniversary inaugural parade that they're doing. An inaugural meaning, AKA, we're not stopping. We're going to do it year after year. This parade was a shindig. This thing was done right. And everybody was friendly. They were handing out popsicles to the kids. It was like, 952 degrees outside, so it was perfect. It was perfect when they were giving out them popsicles. But Mayor Atkins comes on the air on WSIC and does a proclamation. Mooresville is the most patriotic town in the country. Declared. Proclaimed. And so we'll continue developing that lineup. We had Tim Kelly of Apache Solutions on yesterday, firearm safety training. Look, believe what you want about guns, that's fine. But guns exist in the world, and so it's about safety. And so they're going to start their show this Saturday at 1 o'clock. Bill Russell's on deck for this afternoon. So Bill Russell, Lake Norman Chamber president, is going to do his show. Again, he must have liked it because he's coming back. Town Talk, that's going to air at 4 o'clock today because it's Wednesday. Wednesday's looking like Friday already, Bill. Not going to lie to you. Wednesday's looking like Friday. I'm going to need a double dose in the cup on the other side of this. Good morning, LKN 844 Studio 4. If you've got something on your mind, something going on in the morning, 844 Studio 4. We'll be right back.
Stay up to date with the latest.
Good morning, LKN. Justin Ckezepis. Still have the coffee in hand. Still have it. Look, we were talking about the lineup, and there's also another change to the lineup, and I've been telling everybody about him. But everybody already knows him. That's the thing. It's like, I'm not doing him any justice because the man is already known in the community. And that's Brian Summers. Brian Summers is now hosting on WSIC in-house Monday through Friday from 5 to 6 p.m., doing his show from the WSIC studio in Statesville. Brian, tell me, do you have enough to talk about every day? Like, is there enough going on in the community for you? What's going on?
I tell you, I'm learning to manage everything, and I spent last evening up in Alexander County, which we reach, and just made some good contacts there with their sheriff, who's Chad Purnell, really great guy, and it was great. It was at a hosted event there in downtown Taylorsville, probably about 60 people. And announced that, I had this show on WSIC. We reach you up here, and we're your neighbors over in Iredell. And so, yeah, it was good. It was good. And so I'm having a lot of fun trying to keep it. It's tough, but trying to keep it and keep the listeners engaged because there's so much going on. You got just that hour, and then with the breaks to try and really get everybody in. Yesterday, having the lady on from Johns Hopkins University, HR specialist, analyst. And then on Monday, I had a friend of mine who used to be with the State Department in Foreign Policy, a think tank, talking about NATO. So, and then we circle right around and talk about downtown Statesville and Mooresville and Troutman and all those good places.
Dude, you are wild. And this is what happens. See, I started talking to Brian, and he's dropping all these names. He's dropping all these concepts. Look, so-and-so and so-and-so. Yeah, no, I know them. I went to school with them. I'm related with them. I got friends with them. You know everybody, dude. How is this, culmination of, because you were born in Statesville. So what's it been like? You go off to Washington, D.C. You're a big shot hanging out with all the celebrities and all the uppity-ups up there. And then you come home to Statesville, and then you're blessing us little people with what's going on. So what's it been like seeing Statesville and the change and the community and what's been happening?
It's born and raised in Statesville, absolutely. My hometown, Iredell County, home county. It's been very interesting, but it's very welcoming. I mean, I came home and I thought that I was still fresh, steeply rooted in politics and trying to make a run for mayor in my hometown. And so, I heard somebody say something last night, Justin, and I thought, man, I'm going to share this with you. Sometimes it's not your time to win, and so sometimes it's just not the timing to do things. But in all, I think about, not winning last year as far as the mayor's race, and then look a year later, and I have a show 5 days a week on my hometown radio where I was born and raised. You can't get any more blessed than that, an opportunity to further share your vision, your ideas, and just really, see my hometown as a different place, and in a very, with all of the talent that's in Statesville and surrounding, helping to bring that out. And again, I like what you said before about building bridges. We're here to let's have fun, let's build bridges, let's grow this community. And I think with the direction we're going, I love the team, I love the team spirit, and I'm having a great time.
Look, I'd rather listen to you 5 days a week than Sean Hannity. And people are going to say that's a hot take. Oh, this is what people are saying about me on social media right now, Brian. He's woke. He's woke. That's the level that Richard Shannon is getting just blasted with because of the fact that we removed Sean Hannity from our lineup. And this is the honest truth.
Give him my number. Let him call me. I had no one call.
This is the honest truth. I have all but lost faith in the national government. I believe that the states and the local community are our last stand as far as our rights and the God-given freedoms that we have, and to protect and preserve and promote and to protect for the next generation, because everyone's so caught up in now.
I can agree with that.
It's the next generation that matters.
I actually, I spent 30 years there on Capitol Hill, so I can agree with that. Things have taken such a turn. It is not the Washington that I went to and arrived there in May of 1992, right out of college. It is not that Washington at all. It has just really deteriorated into the abyss. As the caller had on Monday, it was just very interesting. I mean, anytime, and I share this a little brief with you, Justin, an Afghan interpreter who served 18 years supporting our military in Afghanistan comes to the United States, gets out with his supporting troops, and they get him here to the States with his wife and 4 kids. He's here for a year and 2 months, gets shot on the streets of D.C., working a part-time job as an Uber driver. He survived 18 years in Afghanistan. The Taliban couldn't take him out. But he comes here, and because of the deterioration of how the left and some people have taken our country and our cities with the crime over the top, even in the nation's capital, that is where we are. And so I agree with you as far as wholeheartedly about, it is up to us, the neighbors, the local folks, to be the first line of defense here at home. I've always advocated. I mean, I went to Washington because I wanted local representation to be in Washington. I mean, the constituent services is where you start out in any congressional office on Capitol Hill. The first thing you learn is where's Cove Gap Road in Iredell County. And so you learn those little integrals, and it really humbles you to understand that you're there to serve. You're not there, for your own ego or whatever. And you learn loyalty 150%. I came in, and it was, even with a college degree, I spent almost 8 years, never made more than $25,000 on Capitol Hill. Came in barely making 15 in 1992. Yep, had 4 roommates for like 3 years.
Oof. Well, see, and I'm a registered unaffiliated. I made the conscious decision whenever I came of age and was able to vote. I wanted to be a registered unaffiliated, not because I don't align with conservative values, because I do, but I don't like just the 2-party system. I have a problem with, why do we on a social issue structure have to put everyone into one of 2 boxes? And this is one of the things I love about North Carolina, is that I can be registered unaffiliated and I can vote the person and not the party, because I think that it's a mixed bag. I think that the Democrats of old, right, are not the same Democrats now. The Republicans of old are not all the same Republicans now. And so I think there's just these blurred lines on everything, to where the big propaganda machines, right, want to funnel you into a couple of distinct individual issues when life is much more. Like, look, abortion is what it is, and I'm grateful that I will say I'm grateful the Supreme Court made the ruling that they did, that it is now down to the states. Abortion is not illegal, it's just a state issue, is what they said, and I'm grateful for that. Allow the states to have those rights. I'm a big proponent of state rights, individual property rights, all of those components. But I don't think everybody's just running around in the streets like, I need to go get an abortion right now. It is Tuesday. I am running around to get an abortion right now. I don't think everybody's doing that, man. I don't think everybody's like, look, there's a lot of things right now about, sexuality and transgender and all this, your right to choose. And I've said it before on this show. If you want to be gay. But don't be influencing my kids and trying to put your propaganda in front of my child who can't even understand and pick out his own, outfit for school or pack his own lunch, as if kids are going to understand these complex situations. So how do you find it
I concur that.
As you've walked through all of these things and seen all these things, like, make heads or tails for me here. Where are we going as a society as it relates to politics?
Wow. Oh, wow. That's a really heavy question after all that. It's a very changed political system. I grew up here in Statesville, and I was born in South Statesville. Lived in public housing, no father, and essentially poor, very much. And so went through public schools. So for me, I was looking for something different. I found it in education with really 2 teachers who didn't look like me, but saw something in me and sparked something to give me a chance, an opportunity to think differently and say, hey, well, why do you believe what you believe? Well, I don't know. It's just what somebody else told me. Well, you'll find out for yourself. That was the challenge. And in 1984, I was 12 years old, huge Reagan. I thought, dang, he was a cowboy. He rode horses, and I liked the suits he wore. I was like, he's my man. And I liked Ronald Wilson Reagan was my man, and still is one of my favorite presidents. And so everything I saw on the news and media, I wanted to go there. I had never been to Washington. I didn't get to Washington until I was out of college. When I showed up on a Greyhound bus with 81 bucks in my pocket and a degree under my arm, looking for a job. And so, but I wanted to go there. What is Capitol Hill? How does the Senate work? What is the House of Representatives? And I was just like, okay, how do I do that? And I remember in sixth grade writing a letter to his Secretary of the Treasury, O'Neill, because I was like, I want to figure out how to get to Washington. And I understand that you have people from North Carolina, Secretary, and he wrote me back. And I still have the letter. He wrote me back. He was the Secretary of Treasury and of the Treasury, and he wrote me. And I took it to school, and I was I hope I'm going to go to Washington. I have no idea what I'm going to do. So I mean, I just think for black kids from South Asia to look and to try to dream beyond and see something and see yourself somewhere else. Those were the things. I wasn't great in sports. I was in a band, but I was more of a pest in my high school band, and I was probably a true musical student. And I was like a B student, So I mean, I had probably all the things of maybe not going anywhere in life, maybe because you stay here, you get married, you get a job, you have kids, things like that. I think the good Lord had something different in mind, and I didn't always know it, but I believed and I prayed, and I always took a different route than what most of my friends were doing, most of my family. Yes, I vote Republican. Yes, I'm conservative. Nobody in my family has ever voted Republican or conservative. Even when I was getting paid from guys who were the president of the United States, but I would call them family who want to borrow money.
Brian, I got this hard break, buddy. I got this hard break, brother. You're the man. 5 o'clock.
All right, brother.
All right.
To you.
See you, man.
Cool.
WSIC News Talk Now.
I'm Mike Jackson, WSIC News. The outdoor warning sirens around the
destination planners. We do it for you. Come see us at Lowry Drug in Statesville. Call 704-873-2247. Come see us.
Where the heart of Lake Norman lives. WSIC News Talk Now.
Good morning, LKN. Justin Ckezepis. Look, I don't want to choose violence first thing in the morning, but I will forever rep DC over Marvel. I'm just letting everybody know. There's a lot of discussion about it. There's a lot of upheaval when it comes to the conversation. But I'm going to be honest with you. You can't beat the Cape and Cow. He keeps a journal of all of your weaknesses. He's got the dossier. So if you're going to be mad at somebody, well, Batman created the dossier. Second to that is going to be the Flash. Because what he does is he resets the universe every time. You need a reset? Let me run backward. Let's run it back. That's what the Flash can do. That's a strong combo. You don't see that in Marvel. The stones are gone. They destroyed them. So Marvel has no reset now. They did it once. But DC, we can go back as many times as we want and rewrite this story. Say what you want about the movie scene. Look, did DC drop the ball on the movie scene and the releasing of the Batman and the Justice League series? Debatable. Debatable. I don't know if Ben Affleck has got his stuff together now at this point to be able to keep going as Batman. You know, we got this other Batman, which I did enjoy that most recent Batman. It was pretty solid. It was definitely more of like the investigator approach in the Batman series. I did like it. My mom or my wife bought me a shirt, and I support it. I just had to get that off my chest. But as far as violence goes, there was a little bit of violence in the community yesterday. I don't know if y'all heard, Fink's Jewelers in Huntersville in Birkdale got robbed. Like, this is a Rolex place. This is the Rolex dealership. They've got a South Park location, and they've got one in Huntersville there in Birkdale. And there's the pictures online. Huntersville PD put them out. Check them out on Insta. The Huntersville PD put out the pictures. And I think I'm going to say, Mike Jackson, if you haven't yet, put it on our site. I should know if it's on our site or not, but, you know, I trust the team to do what they're going to do. Mike, definitely get that story out on the site. I'm sure Cornelius Today probably has it as well. Shout out to Dave Yoakum. They got robbed. And so I get a call because, you know, my law firm that I sold in 2021 is directly adjacent to Fink's. So it's now Bright Law. Trey Bright runs the show over there. Miles Owens is the other attorney there as well. There's a slew of paralegals as well, top notch. The best paralegals in the game. Aaron Wolf. We got Sylvia, Kelsey, Amanda. They're still there. And they're still there. Shows you how much they didn't really like me. They were willing to stick around even after I left. They said, good, we needed change. But the law firm is directly adjacent to Fink. So I get a call yesterday. Man, they got robbed. Fink's got robbed. But that's got to be scary because it's a shared wall into the law firm. So I'm thinking, like, if I was there doing a closing still, and then all of a sudden, like, Fink's gets robbed. Like, that's sketch. But the fact that could happen just, like, in our town. But Huntersville was on it. I hear the choppers are flying around. The police got the intersections blocked off. The tapes rolled out. I mean, they're investigating. It's a serious situation.
Do you know what time of day it happened?
Gosh, I should know that.
I'm sorry.
I should know
I put
that.
you on the spot.
I don't know. Like, hey, if somebody's got the facts, call us. Like, where's the eyewitnesses?
Absolutely.
There's
Call
got to
in.
be eyewitnesses.
I just want to know if it was a daytime, because that seems
Bold, right?
Be bold.
Bold.
Be bold.
Like we talked about it before. Like, we've seen things in this town so sketch it's unsketch. Like, I'm just gonna walk in here in the middle of the day and I'm gonna snatch me some Rolexes.
Crazy.
And I don't even know if they took Rolexes. I haven't delved into the details. There's probably a lot of people that have spent the night investigating it. 844 Studio 4. Phone's ringing. It might be, hey, maybe this is the investigative journalism. But this is how we do it. We'll do it live. Let's get some people on the phone and talk about it. Who saw it? That's what I want to know. Who saw the robbery? Because Birkdale's a busy spot. Birkdale's a busy spot. I don't know if you've been by there in a while. North American Properties has done an outstanding job with Birkdale. Say what you want about the traffic. Say what you want about the traffic. The facility, the complex is gorgeous. I mean, you're talking national level. It's a model. This is a model for the entire country. Because if once you're there, once you find a parking spot, you can be walking around and you can find pretty much anything you need. Wow. Okay. So my wife is on the phone right now. She's called in. Hey, babe. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
How we doing?
We're doing good.
Don't. I know you're not calling about this DC versus Marvel thing that I brought up before. Don't start chastising me on air about DC versus Marvel right now.
No, you called for eyewitnesses about the robbery, and not that I saw it, but I did drive by there just a few minutes probably after it happened.
Okay, now I'm embarrassed. Now I feel like I should have known this.
You should have known this. I told you this, but you have selective hearing.
That's factual. It's a scientific fact. Men, Dr. Eastman, Fridays at 3:00, she told me that men have selective hearing, and that's facts. That's facts. Okay, so
and in fact, I think I sent you the article. I think you heard about this from me.
This is only getting worse. This is not getting better for me right now at all. All right, so you drove past. What time was it you drove past yesterday?
It was when Billy the Buffer was on. The radio was down, and it was as he was singing to Frank, actually.
Okay,
So,
a couple of things there, but we'll move past that part for now. Go ahead. All right, keep going. So that was, we'll call it like 12:30, 1 o'clock. 12:30, 1 o'clock.
12:30, 1 o'clock, Billy the Buffer was on, and I remember, so when I was driving by, I was actually going to pick up your dry cleaning, and there was a huge police presence.
Shout out to Birkdale Cleaners, by the way, the best in the game. Go ahead.
But there wasn't any tape. I know you mentioned that it was all taped off. It was not taped off. There was no tape, but there were police everywhere. I actually recognized one of the detectives. He's my assistant principal's husband, Detective Latza.
Don't be giving inside information that you may know right now, baby. Don't do that. Don't be doing that.
No, I don't know any information.
Okay, good. Full disclosure. We don't know anything. We don't know anything.
I just know it was a big deal if they were there. So.
Well, text Detective Latza. Let's get him on the phone, babe. Come on. Let's get this investigative journalism going on. What am I paying you for, babe? Come on.
No, I don't want to get involved in any of that. I just recognized the face and wanted you to know that you did hear about this from me, and there was no tape.
Okay, so that's the summation of all of this. Is there was no tape. I was wrong. That was the fact I was wrong about. There was no tape out there.
The intersections were open, so that I was able to cruise right through. In fact, I was like, something's going on, but I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so now we're back to there was no tape. The intersections were wide open and cars were just flowing. So did I get any of the facts right whatsoever? They were robbed. We can say they were robbed.
Bright Law was right beside.
Yes, Bright Law is directly adjacent our old stomping grounds of the law firm. Yes, and Victoria's Secret on the other side. Victoria's Secret is now on that other side of Finks. They were across the street, but now they are on that same side of the street, directly adjacent to Finks. In case anybody was wondering if they got confused when they went to Birkdale and saw, hey, there's two Victoria's Secrets. What's going on here? Kind of like a Pan Pam situation, like Pan Pam. We can help solve that for people.
Yeah.
So, well,
anyways,
top notch.
This is one of our
This is one of our investigative journalists here, ladies and gentlemen. This is Demi, the calendar girl, also calling in with the direct knowledge of what's happening in the community, fact checking me on everything, on every aspect of the story. Hey, how are the kids doing this morning, by the way?
The kids are nice and wild and happy.
As usual. So, all right. Well, they got your DNA, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
All right. I love you.
Love you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye. All right, there you go. Top-notch reporting from my wife, not from me. Good morning, LKN. Representative Sainz donning that cape and cowl, saving the world. He'll be with us in a bit. 844 Studio 4. Good morning, LKN. Justin Ckezepis alongside the top-notch investigative team. The calls are flooding in. The texts are flooding in. Got another inquiry here. There is possible that Teslas will solve all crimes in the future. Because, these Teslas have these cameras. And, Elon and his team watch everything. They're monitoring all of it. Don't know if you knew that about Teslas, but they're watching you 24/7. It's no different than Google, Amazon. Tesla's doing the same thing. So the real question is how do we pull all the video footage of all the Teslas and make that basically our crime monitoring system? Would you submit yourself to that? Would you allow local law enforcement to have access to your vehicle cameras under the guise of just being a good citizen? Because that's how they're going to market it. That's the only way you're checking that box. And maybe it's in the terms of service. Do you ever read those car agreements when you buy a car? They do it like in that old dot matrix printer. You know what I'm talking about last time you went and bought a car. They got those dot matrix printers in there. Carbon copy. You taking home yellow, pink, or white? Which form is yours? It's probably listed in that terms of service when you bought that Tesla that they're just going to take all that footage they want. 844 Studio 4. Representative Sane is caught up saving the world right now. And I can't blame him. Look, he does a lot. Like we talked about, he's the House Conference Chair. He's on appropriations. I think he's the chair, co-chair. He's up there. Shows you how much I know how the system works. Me, I just walk down the street. I just try to chew gum and walk at the same time most days. That's usually my standard. As long as I can chew gum and walk and not fall, pretty good day. Pretty good day. But the robbery was serious. That's something to take serious, and being safe is always good. Mike Jackson's going to join us next hour. I told Mike. Mike was telling me he was at an event yesterday. He was at an event in Troutman yesterday with some a business situation, and North Fork Business Park in Troutman. You got these new business parks kind of popping up everywhere. The Huntersville Business Park. Bill, have you driven through Huntersville Business Park recently? Have you done that? Have you driven? You know, it's a big loop. Like it's a big, and there's like a lot of walkers in the morning for exercise. Have you driven through the Huntersville Business Park recently off 23?
I have not driven through the business park lately, but I have done many a runs through the business park, many a bike ride, and my old dentist used to be in the business park.
2 dentists ago?
2 dentists ago.
2 dentists ago is in. Are they still in the business park?
We don't talk anymore.
Okay. Did it end poorly or just more like life
We
changes?
just grew apart.
Yeah.
We just grew apart.
New season of life.
Sure.
If your homework then, Bill, today, when you go home, you have got to take the loop through the business park. You have got to. Because you have got to see these Taj Mahal industrial buildings that are going up inside of the Huntersville Business Park now. Just do one lap. Just do one lap. Wave to Joe Gibbs. I know you're a big racing fan. Wave to Joe Gibbs on your way around and check out all of these industrial buildings going in Huntersville right now. They're immaculate buildings. I mean, there's just something about like this architectural design on these massive warehouses these days. You know, Amazon did it pretty basic. They kept like concrete cylinder walls, and this is how they flared it up. This is how Amazon flares it up in their buildings. Let's throw a blue stripe down the side. Let's just throw a blue stripe down the side of the building. We'll call it a day. But if you go through Huntersville and you go through the Huntersville Business Park, these buildings are phenomenal. And I'm excited to see them continue going up. So the North Fork Business Park in Troutman had groundbreaking. And Mike Jackson, our news director, was there yesterday on scene. And so he's going to call in. I told him he has to. He doesn't normally like do the live stuff. He will. He's adventurous. We're going to hear from Mike Jackson in the 8 o'clock hour. So you're going to want to hear what's going on with Troutman. Troutman's booming too. You know, you drive north on 77. After you get through Mooresville, then you hit Troutman. And you talk about another gem. Another gem. They got vineyards out there. They got good people. And they got a lot of dirt to work with. And there's a lot of people looking at it right now. A lot of homes going up. You got the lake. Look, we call it Lake Norman. Everyone, like, I don't know why. Once you hit Mooresville, then north of that, people are like, no, we're not Lake Norman. Look at a map. Look at a map. Facts. You're all Lake Norman. Statesville, you're Lake Norman too. Troutman, you're Lake Norman. It is what it is. I'm not trying to take away from your individual characteristics. I'm not trying to stop you from being unique, but we're one family. We're going to be united. I told you that's what I say to my kids, like when they start acting a fool out. Like we were in a nice line, right? If we got to hold hands, we'll hold hands. But the moment one unit steps out, we're a unit. You got to get back in line. So we're going to hear from Mike Jackson as far as what's going on with the business park up there. I'm excited to hear what's the plans, what's the thought, what's kind of the long-term situation. So there's some articles coming out, which I wanted to get into with Representative Sane, so I'll throw him out there. And he'll be on at 11 o'clock. So he's still going to do his show. He may be doing it from his office in Raleigh. That's the advantage of the technology we've got here with video capabilities, over-the-air capabilities. He represents Lincoln County, but he does work during the week in Raleigh. You won't find me signing up for that job. And I don't mean that as an offense to Raleigh. I don't. I'm just not a big Raleigh guy. Raleigh's nice. I don't want to live there. This is home. And so that's just one of the reasons, one of the many reasons why you won't find me running for an elected office. Which actually means I can just say whatever I want. Because when you're a private citizen, you can pretty much say whatever you want. There's limits. But the moment you step into that public field. And so Representative Sain and all the other representatives, Senator Sawyer, Representative McNeely, and the other wonderful representatives we've got in our local area, they do have to go to Raleigh to work. And so when he spends his time there, but he's willing to engage with you as the community, he wants to hear from you. He wants to know what's on your mind and provide that opportunity and to let you know what's going on. So there's an article out right now. I think it came out saying that it's likely that the medical marijuana bill is likely dead for this year. It looks like House Speaker Tim Moore said on Tuesday that the Republicans in his chamber opposed the idea, so it likely won't progress. So it was like a lot of discussion, right? Again, morally, you can decide where you fall on medical marijuana.
Bummer, bro.
Man, dang. But like you've got this Delta stuff that is like basically the same thing. Like it was funny. We were having a conversation with a friend the other weekend, and I was like, "Yeah, man, but it's like regulated. It's like a percentage." He's like, "Dude, you're talking about like percentages. Like it's still THC. Like it's still like it's the same effect. Like you're just talking about like there's too much, and then there's like everything else." And so the medical marijuana conversation it's a big debate. Look, there's a tax base for it. Let's be honest. Part of it is there's a tax base. It's another revenue stream. And then the secondary component is safety. Okay, well, if you don't do anything about it and people are going to buy it illegally, is that better than, okay, at least if we made it legal to some degree, that then it could be regulated? Because there is a real medical purpose for it. There is a true medical purpose. I'm not a doctor. But you can't tell me, look, some people smile. But people that are on medical marijuana, they look like they're smiling a lot more. I'm just saying. I'm not proponent of it one way or another. I'm just looking at it from an outside view based on fact. 844 Studio 4. Where would you fall on that? Medical marijuana. What do you think? Should it be legal? Should marijuana be legal? Free for all. Because then the interesting part is like a lot of the states do too, where you can like grow it yourself. You don't even have to go to the store and buy it. I don't know what happens in that scenario. But hey, what do you think? 844 Studio 4. Should medical marijuana be legal? I'll pass on your comments to Representative Sain for his 11 o'clock show. Let him know, and then he can pass it on to Speaker Moore. Hey, they want to know how you feel as constituents. They represent you. That's what the legislative body does. Remember that when you when you vote for somebody, they're supposed to represent you. So if it's a leader that you're voting for, you should know what they stand for too. You should know what they're about. What's important to them. Their answer should be, well, what's important to you? That should be the default answer. Is it? Ask them. I want to find a way at this next election cycle. So I'm going to put this on record. I'm going to put it out there. We're going to work with our team. We're going to call on all the people that we can to get this done. I think it's time we get to local public forums at a mass scale. And so what we need to do is we're going to work on hosting local public forums for every individual municipality that has an election this upcoming cycle. I want these people on podiums. I want you to be able to ask questions and to know what they think and what they believe. I'm not talking about party politics. I'm talking about true beliefs, understanding the job, what are their job responsibilities, and where do they land on particular subjects. You deserve to know. And I feel like we have an obligation to make that happen. So I'm working on that. That's one of the many things we're working on. I'm going to get Brian Summers on it because he's going to be about it. Good morning, LKN. We're going to hear from Bill Russell coming up in the next hour. He hosts Town Talk Wednesdays at 4 o'clock. 844 Studio 4. Medical marijuana, should it be legal? Give us a call. Let us know. Coming right back.
The new 105.
Good morning, LKN. I told you the solar flares are messing with me today. I'm convinced. We're working on getting our top of the hour Fox News back from the satellite feed. 82. Just go. Yeah. So we're working on it. We're getting there. Anyway, good morning, LKN. Justin Ckezepis. Good morning, LKN. Yeah, it's one of those days. It's the morning. So yeah, I told you the solar flares are going. The technology's acting a fool. And we're still here. I think we're still here. We're going to assume we're here. Anyway, good morning, LKN. It's a fun morning here. We're happening. I'm looking at Bill. Bill, you got to hop on the mic now because people are like, what the heck is going on? And they're looking at me like I'm crazy right now. So hop on that mic right there and have a conversation with me real quick. People need to understand that you're in a little booth. And what's happening is you've got about 16 monitors that you work at a time. And so when something like the Fox satellite doesn't trigger, it's like, whoa, call an audible. And so in your mind, what just happened?
Well, I was playing the music for our intro there on solo, so I was only hearing the simian violins there, not realizing that we're actually fine.
and the behind the scenes is right because like visually we can see each other. Bill and I can. I get to stare at him all day long. And if you're on our video stream, you can see us too because Bill's popping up there. So as we continue working through the technicals of having multiple studios, it's an exciting time. And I don't know what happened yesterday, but these solar flares, they got to be real. Has anybody gotten to see the Northern Lights? Right? Like, is that like they said maybe Thursday? Well, it's Wednesday right now.
I think some people have some pretty cool pictures, but they're in Asheville. So I don't know if like we will be able to see it, but you know, people in the higher elevation areas,
sure.
Maybe they have a better chance at checking it all out. But I saw a pretty cool picture on Twitter from Asheville, UNC Asheville.
There's a place that I enjoy camping, Linville Gorge in North Carolina. It's around the Pisgah National Forest area. It's
oh, it sounds gorgeous.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's one of those places like I like it because when you go down into the gorge, if you go far enough, you have no cell phone service. And so like twofold there. One, I don't have any cell phone service, and that's nice. It's nice to get away. But the other side of that coin is I have no cell phone service. I have no access to anybody given a situation. So it's a risk I take, and I do enjoy it. Demi not as big of a fan now with the kids. You know, I'm used to making an annual thing. Had to pull back on that a little bit. She doesn't like me not having cell phone service at this point. But sometimes I drive down Catawba Avenue and I have no cell phone service. I think we need more cell phone towers. I've been learning a little bit about this whole 5G thing. So the 5G thing and like these bands, like it's like, you know, fake airwaves that we all can't see. So like 5G, from my understanding, is this component is you got to have them like tighter together, more towers. It can dish out more data, but you got to have a lot more towers because they don't go as far. And so when I'm like at my house sometimes, I have like no service. And I don't know if it's like I'm in between towers, like at this perfect point. But then like I drive, 100 yards down the road and all of a sudden I've got service. And so I'm pretty convinced we need more towers. Do you have any issues with your cell phone service anywhere, Bill, or is it just me? It could be just me.
I try to stay as far away from my phone as possible. You should see my inbox, text messages, family members. I see the messages, though, and I'm thinking of you.
You're just not clicking into it, huh? Just like pops up like a little bubble at the top, and that's it. Do you have Verizon or AT&T or Sprint? Is it Sprint? Is AT&T now, right? Isn't that, or no?
Verizon.
You got the Verizon. I got Verizon too. But I think we need more towers.
If you're going to put up those towers, do not obstruct my view.
That's a big conversation.
I'm serious.
Cornelius had a tower that they raised the height of. That was the phone ringing there, so we're triggering somebody. They had the tower that raised the height in Cornelius a few years ago. Big upheaval. Big upheaval. A lot of people came out. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. It will obstruct my view. And it's funny because, like, there's obviously a technical reason for wanting it to go taller. A lot of things are, like, line of sight. And so, like, you need it taller based on all the other stuff going on, and you want more space on there to put more of the gear to stay connected. We want to stay connected. Well, there's a cost of staying connected, and one of those things are towers. And so it was a big upheaval. But it was funny because we were driving down to Tom. Bill and I were Friday night last week. And I said, oh, there's that tower. And like you see it from a distance, right? I'm not going to lie. You see it from a distance. They've got it blended with like the trees and stuff like that now. Like, you know, like fake bird nests sitting on it. And it looks like a wilderness forest. But then you get to a tree line because there's a lot of trees like in our area, which is great. We like trees. I'm a fan of trees. And then you couldn't see it. So it's one of those situations, and this is common in development, right? Like, okay, it's so tall, it's going to obstruct everything. But then at the same time, like in reality, once it happens, is it really that big of a deal? That's why I don't envy these town commissioners. I don't envy them on their job. Because you got to listen to the public. You have to take in the feedback from the public. You have to. That's your job. You represent the public. But then you got to balance between like, hey, this is actually like a really good thing for the town as compared to like, you know, a little bit of an aesthetic inconvenience for your eyes in one, you know, direction for a short time. And so I don't envy that. But cell phone towers and signals, man, like there's just like, you ever had that? You're just driving, also drop. Just done. No service. And you're like on like a major thoroughfare. It's not like you're in the middle of the wilderness. Okay, if I'm in the Linville Gorge at the Pisgah National Forest, understandable. Intentionally, there aren't very many towers out there. Like a national forest. But locally, like my local town, like I'm driving down 150 in Mooresville. No service. Sometimes. Broad Street in Statesville. You know, hey, how's the service? Is it dropping? So is it like a too many people thing on the tower too? Because there's got to be a capacity. It's not like it's unlimited. We can connect unlimited phones to this tower. So there's got to be some type of mathematical equation. And you know, like these cell phone companies, they have on their back end, they're monitoring all that data usage. So they're seeing like how many people are accessing, for how long, the bandwidth, and they can control it. I mean, no doubt they just have a button. Scoop. No mas. Because they say that too in your plan. You know, when you've got a cell phone plan, they talk about that. They say, oh, if you go over your limits, we're going to bring that on down. Notch it down in the old belt. Tighten it up. You're talking too much. You're sending too many pics. Get off the Insta. That's what they tell you. Now, though, with these unlimited plans, is it truly unlimited? I have one of like, I still haven't switched over to like this unlimited plan. I've got like the same plan I've had for, I don't know, probably 15 years. It's like capped at like 8 gigs of data. Because it's like, how much do I really need? Especially if we're on Wi-Fi all day. Right? Like that's the real racket of all of it. How much, like everywhere you go, how often are you on a Wi-Fi network? Because you're not using your cell phone service when you're on Wi-Fi. So it's like you're paying for unlimited, but 80% of your day, are you not on Wi-Fi? Unless you're just driving the streets. You know, if you're one of these road warriors, shout out to the road warriors. Shout out to the road warriors who get it done or stay on the streets all day long. Then you're going to need some data. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. You know that your cell phone signal drops and you wonder, are they listening? It's like when you get that random email. You know, we're sitting in the living room talking about something. And then all of a sudden you get the email for that product. Like we were talking, I don't know, we were talking about like birthday parties for the kids one day. All of a sudden, like, hire a clown. We get that email. Like have a clown come to your house right now. It's like, well, wait a second. And it's like, so it's like assuming it's beyond like even what you're talking about. It's like, no, let's make the assumption for what you want for your party. Let's plan your party for you. Who doesn't want a clown just to come to their house and sing happy birthday to their child? I'm going to be honest with you, I don't. Clowns are definitely one of those things that you wonder about. So all this technology, right? We got a lot of technology. And all this circles back to the fact of there's solar flares. Solar flares are happening, people. I hope you get a chance to check out the Northern Lights, though. Maybe we'll see it. You know, I heard, though, that, like, if you, like, just stand, like, you're supposed to not have any, you know, artificial lights around you, right? But what about if you just like engulfed yourself in just like a UV light and then like looked up, and would you see the northern lights at that point? You probably would. But it wouldn't be like the natural northern lights. It'd be just like light flare from staring into the sun. Don't do that, by the way. They say that's not good for you. I don't know much about it. Good morning, LKN. Bill Russell's on the phone. We're going to have him just on the other side. We're looking forward to that conversation. 844 Studio 4. Good morning, LKN. Coming right back.
The issues that
Good morning, LKN. You know, I've got a little lesson on the phone. Hope called in, was giving Bill a lesson on this whole 5G, 4G conundrum and how it works. High band, low band, left, right, up, down, circle, circle, square, square. I don't know. It's like a PlayStation cheat code. I don't know. But someone who's got cell phone service, he's got to have cell phone service because he's joining us right now on the phone. It's Bill Russell. Bill Russell, the host of Town Talk, airs Wednesdays from 4 to 5 p.m., and he's the president of the Lake Norman Chamber. This dude lives, breathes, sleeps, eats small business. Bill, how are we doing this morning?
Well, I was laughing at your expense a while ago, Justin, when your wife called you out for your selective hearing. It's nice to know I'm not the only one with selective hearing.
Oh.
Congratulations and welcome to the club.
You know, she gave a G version of what it's really like in the house. So that was, I'm grateful for that. She held back, so I appreciate that about her. She's kind to me that way.
Oh.
So what's going on in your world right now, Bill?
All kinds of things this morning.
Oh, we're everywhere.
We're talking about all kinds of things this morning. I'm listening to you talk about medical marijuana and
you got to take, Bill. You got to take on. You got to take on medical marijuana. What's your take, Bill? Be honest. Be honest with the people now.
I don't have a take. I don't have a take or a toke, either one.
Well, it's just one of the many issues, right? And our area is
Yeah, right.
facing many issues. Our state, our country, we deal with a lot of things. What's the landscape like right now for small businesses in the community?
Things are really improving. I talked to somebody yesterday that was a small business owner, and they were talking about how things have so vastly improved since 2020, 2021 with everything that was going on. People are getting back together, socializing, networking, businesses are growing. Things are much, much improved over where they were. And so I'm hearing that generally across the board with our small business owners.
You hosted an event yesterday, the Health Summit. I had to dip out from it because as these solar flares are taking over our Fox satellites, so we had Bill on the board here, right? He had to hop on air for a bit and entertain people for a while. But I was excited at the Health Summit. I mean, you put together a top-notch panel there. You had Atrium, Iredale Health, Novant. I mean, all of the major players are there at the table. Give a synopsis of what you heard during the event and the panel.
Well, it was fantastic, and Jeff Tart emceed the event, and they talked about a lot of different things. I think what you really heard and was the access to healthcare, and sometimes the unfairness of certain regulations that we have, and that the regulation burdensome that we place on our healthcare providers. So they're frustrated, we're frustrated, but I think the closing statement, I don't know if you were there for that, but Mike Riley, they asked if you could do one thing, what would you do? And he talked about be nicer to your healthcare providers from the perspective of some folks are now kind of blaming the healthcare physicians and the nurses and the doctors for the 2 or 3 years of COVID because they've had to wear these face masks, they've had to do all these precautions, they've been sick, and now starting to beat up on the healthcare workers, and there's starting to be some violence in that regard. I had not heard that before, and these people, when most of us were sheltered in place and couldn't go out, they were there, they were taking care of us, and so that was one thing. But the other is, there's so many folks that can't afford health care insurance, and so the cost of health care is so burdensome to families, and so you heard that as well. So there's frustration on both sides, the providers and the patients.
How much in the forefront do you think for small businesses in particular is healthcare, health insurance, being able to provide access to it for employees, for themselves, for their families? How much of an issue do you think that's going to play out to be in the next election cycle?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge, Justin. You're an entrepreneur yourself, and that's the one thing that I hear from small business owners and entrepreneurs is the cost to take care of their employees. And I know some small business owners who have rolled the dice and they don't have insurance on themselves because they can't afford it. And they're rolling the dice, hoping something doesn't come up. There's no catastrophic illness or surgical requirements, because if they did, they would just be bankrupt. And I think that's going to play out, nationally as we see this election. Because we've got to do something. We have fantastic health care. It's just, again, the regulations that we're imposing, the cost is getting higher, and we've got to do something about that. But there's no question we still have the most outstanding. People come to the United States for their health care needs. We just got to get the cost under control.
It's amazing that there was one concept that I remember former President Trump talking about allowing competition by having a policy that's issued from a company in another state and all this kind of stuff. So it seems like that there are potential solutions out there. But Bill, what can be done to rally the troops, if you will, the legislator to actually come to terms and change something? Is that even possible at this point?
I think what you're seeing in Washington is both sides digging in and using sometimes these issues, instead of moving forward together, is using these issues as red meat to their base. And we're just running around in circles and chasing our tail instead of getting something done. We've got to put this partisanship behind us. It's got to be people and not politics, and that's what's got to change in Washington. And I'm not sure if it's another round of Trump and Biden coming up, that's, I don't think, good for the country. So I'd like to see some new leadership and new direction.
There's a hot take right there. Bill Russell, not afraid to say the facts, not afraid to stand up for the small business owner, the community, also nonprofits. Bill, you're big on nonprofits. What's going on in the nonprofit world right now locally?
Yeah, and we're going to have a nonprofit roundtable. That's one of the things the chamber did, Justin, several years ago. Actually, almost 7 or 8 years ago, we brought our nonprofits together because I was invited to 3 gala fundraising events in one weekend, and you just can't do that. But you have certain nonprofits that may not know what another nonprofit does. So we bring them together on a quarterly basis, and we sometimes have 30, 35, 40 nonprofits coming together and talking about what they're doing in this particular quarter and who they are, because there's some collaboration that can take place. So you may have an Ada Jenkins that had never heard of Beds for Kids or Lydia's Loft, and they explain what they do and what events they have coming up. And when you hear their stories, and this is the fascinating thing for me, Justin, is when I'm sitting there and listening to these 35 or 40 people talk about what they're doing and sometimes share this unique story of the impact they made on a family, it is just fascinating, and it reminds you what a great community we live in.
It's amazing that when all the parties come to the table, you've got nonprofits, you've got the private sector, you've got the public sector. That to me seems like the real formula that can work. How do we accomplish that in the local community?
Well, you've got to have the volunteers, and you've got to have the businesses supporting the nonprofits. The nonprofits cannot carry out their mission without the help of the business community and without the help of volunteers. It takes an extraordinary. Matter of fact, we got a big event coming up here, July 22nd. It's a big day at the lake. For people who may not be aware, it's a fundraiser for Big Brothers Big Sisters. Dave Yoakum with Business Today, Cornelius Today, has put his heart and soul into it, and it allows kids who may not have access to the water, may never have been on the lake. They are partnered with a family that takes them out on the boat. And then later there's a picnic at Duke Power Energy Explorium. And when you see the faces on these kids, sometimes getting in the water in the Lake Norman for the very first time, and then later they're out there zip sledding or skiing or on a raft and having such a fun time. But it is an extraordinary amount of volunteers that are required to put that on. But it's just so good to watch, and kind of reminds you it's a great community, and that's what we need. We've got to have our volunteers stepping up. We've got to have our businesses stepping up to help fund these organizations.
Big Day at the Lake is like a staple in the community. You've got even the local mayors now, proclaiming the day specifically for, like, declaring it. This is Big Day at the Lake. So when you've got these town proclamations, Dave has worked very hard to keep that event going, and it has really turned into a movement of opportunity. And so when you think about opportunity and providing that to many different people, how do you wear so many hats so seamlessly throughout the day and all the opportunities you're presented with? Like, give us an inside look into Bill Russell's brain. Can you do like a smell test on it and know if it's legit or not? Or how do you work through all that?
I just enjoy what I do, and I have always been one to, when I got out of college, I was an office furniture, office supply salesperson. And of course, that's how I made my money and was to sustain my life. But the fact of the matter is, I enjoyed the weekends when I would go out there and work on a project for then called the JCs and now Kiwanis and Rotary and some of the other organizations. But I just enjoyed making an impact in somebody else's life. And so that's the reward. And at the end of our days, we're not going to be able to take any of our toys with us. We're not going to be able to have our wealth later. It is the impact that we've made on people's lives. That's what really matters.
Bill Russell, host of Town Talk, which airs every Wednesday here on WSIC. You can watch the video of Bill, too, WSICnews.com and all of the social platforms that we live stream the video to. Bill, real quick before you head off, are you a Marvel or DC guy?
I think I like them all. I grew up with Batman and Superman and Spider-Man. I'm not so much into the Dungeons and Dragons of the day, but I guess Marvel.
Okay, picking sides. He's Bill Russell, president of Lake Norman Chamber, host of Town Talk here on WSIC. We're going to come back. Bill, I got to tell you about this event coming up this weekend. I'm going to tell you about it, and Bill Russell's already going to know about it, but I'm going to tell you, Bill on the sticks, about that as soon as we're back. Good morning, LKN.
Local news and weather now on the new 105.9 100. future while continuing to make history. That's yours truly, Todd Starnes, weekday afternoons from noon to 3 here on News Talk WSIC. News Talk WSIC, Statesville, Lake Norman's most trusted news source.
Good morning, LKN. Justin Ckezepis. I was saying there's an event going on that I don't think Bill knows about. Bill here. Bill on the sticks. Bill the Buffer, as he is now known after yesterday. The second Friday Street Festival going on in Cornelius. Every second Friday Street Festival. So it's free to attend. It starts at Oak Street Mills from 6 to 10 p.m. in downtown Cornelius. You're going to want to check it out. It's a good scene. If you're in Mooresville, if you're in Statesville, Troutman, Huntersville, Cabarrus County, Lincoln County, come on out. Come check out downtown Cornelius. See what they got going on. You can see the new Kane Center. Beautiful building downtown. A lot of new shops popping up, small businesses. The downtown scene is really, really, really ramping up. It's getting to be serious. And it's a good time. Bring the family. Come hang out. I think you're going to like it. It's going to be a great time. So that's the second Friday Street Festival. It starts at Oak Street Mill, 19725 Oak Street in Cornelius. Just come downtown Cornelius. You're going to find it because it's there. All right, let's go to the word of the day. So, Bill, this is what we do with the word of the day. Bill the Buffer is going to give me a word that I then need to guess the definition of. All right, Bill, what's the word?
Today's word of the day is loquacious. Loquacious. An adjective.
I'm trying to just even process how I'm gonna know what loquacious
Come on,
is.
it's loquacious. Would you like to hear it in a sentence?
I think I'm gonna need it in a sentence.
She's the loquacious host of a weekly news podcast. Loquacious.
She is the loquacious host of a weekly news podcast. So, okay, so it's an adjective.
It is an adjective.
And so that describes her.
Correct.
So it's a descriptive term, loquacious, loquacious. And thank you for putting that pronunciation too. So if you're watching on WSICnews.com on the video stream, Bill's got this graphic up right now, and he's really helping me out. He's really helping me to expand my vocabulary. So loquacious, it's an adjective. Is it...
She's the loquacious host of a weekly news podcast.
Is it like a jubilee? Is it exciting host? Is it exciting? Is it?
We're getting warm.
Okay, we're getting closer. Is it okay? So she's loquacious. So it's not necessarily exciting. We're getting there. She's the.
What do you do every day?
I shout. I just shout.
Shouting.
So she just starts shouting. She's the shouting host.
All right, you're pretty close. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you the def.
Okay,
if that's all right.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Someone described as loquacious might also be called wordy, or prone to using more words than necessary when talking.
That's what you're describing me as? Is that I talk too much?
Tending to talk a lot.
Okay. All right. Now I get it. No,
you have to be loquacious in this line of business.
Full of words. See, I think for me, it's a combination of broadcasting being one, but two as an attorney. So it's like the double whammy. Like there literally is no shortage, right? So all those contracts and things like that, you can just keep talking forever. Whatever we got to talk about, we'll just keep going.
Loquacious is also used a lot in poetry instead of words like talkative or excited. You know, a lot of poets will use the word loquacious.
My son, as he continues developing his vocabulary, is quite loquacious on many days.
Quacious.
Just can we abbreviate it to quacious?
Yeah.
Is that appropriate? Like don't be so quacious?
Right. Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Do you know the national origin by chance?
Loquacious.
That's not a country. That's the word.
Loquacious.
No idea on the national origin. And I don't know, maybe the national origin would help. They use the national origin for the spelling bee, right? Because I'm assuming certain places that create words, they have certain, parameters of spelling it. I don't know how it will help me with the definition, but there might be a day where I start seeing a pattern. Certain countries putting words forward in particular fashion, they may just come back to consistent definitions. And then if we really got into it, could we pinpoint, is it possible to pinpoint when a word was created? Like what year? Because you got to think, if we could pin it to what year a word was created, we may have a feeling of, hey, what was going on in that time frame? And that may help. Is this me being am I being too loquacious right now with my analysis?
Justin, you must calm down. You're simply too loquacious.
So when you're out at the Second Friday Street Festival this Friday in downtown Cornelius
With your kith,
getting
loquacious.
Everybody should be loquacious all weekend long. Enjoy that time with the family. We're loquacious online on social media. Let's be loquacious in person with our kith.
I love that.
At some point, we're going to be able to just form full sentences of the words of the day. Maybe at the end of the week, the goal, on Fridays, we should put together a singular sentence with all of the words of the day. Can we combine all the words of a day of a week into a singular sentence on Fridays?
I just got invited into a extended big family group chat, and it is quite loquacious.
Those group chats are tough sometimes because, we're in a few and you're probably in a few too. It's you're in the middle of something and then the phone keeps dinging, and it's constant. And sometimes it doesn't hit at the right moment. Sometimes that happens and earlier we talked about the robbery at Fink's Jewelers, and I shouldn't laugh about it because it's not funny. But here's my problem. I'm basically the Jimmy Fallon of the group. I can't not laugh. If you have a situation that you need someone with a stoic face, that's not going to be me. I'm not the guy you want, okay, we're going to go real tough. Good cop, bad cop, Justin, you're bad cop. That's not going to work. 99% of the time I'd prefer to be good cop. Because then I can be jovial. I can be glee. You
could be loquacious.
I could be loquacious. I almost said I could be gay with the E on the end, but I didn't want, I didn't want to throw anybody off with that, I didn't want to spark controversy on the day because I feel like I'd have to spell it, Gay with an E. Right? Isn't that that's how you spell it, right? That's the difference when you throw the E on the end. Isn't that the difference? Hey, we're going to have a gay old time. Gaye.
You are being loquacious.
Am I? Really don't even get me started on the rainbow, the real definition of the rainbow, because God made that for a purpose. And so we'll just get down to brass tacks and facts on that. You ain't going to borrow the rainbow from me. And so, so now I'm being told that it's Latin. Now I'm being told that the word is Latin. And Bill took Latin was it high school you took Latin? Was it high school? See, Bill, who takes Latin? Isn't it the dead language? Latin is the dead language. You don't even speak it anymore. But people, I guess you can. It's what people don't. Is that what we mean by the dead language? Bill also speaks German. Should we just maybe we'll have a segment where Bill just starts talking German on the air. My wife, Demi, she speaks 3 languages. So she speaks English, she speaks French, and she speaks Greek. So maybe next time we'll get Bill speaking German and we'll get Demi speaking Greek to each other, and they'll just have this international dialogue back and forth. Bill, is Latin, is it spoken and all? Isn't it the dead language? What is it spoken anymore?
I think it is not an official language of any country. I think that's what makes it a quote-unquote dead language. But it was a great class.
Well, loquaciously, you are doing an outstanding job of the word of the day.
You're my kith, bro.
Good morning, LKN. I've told Mike Jackson he has to call in next segment. I don't know what he's doing right now. He could be getting stretched at stretch zone right now in downtown Cornelius, and it's not going to bother me. He needs to call in and talk about this event going on in Troutman. So Mike Jackson, give us a call. Good morning, LKN, 844 Studio 4. We're taking your calls, too. Be right back. Good morning, LKN. The second cup is brewing right now, so I switched to the water for a little bit. You got to stay hydrated. 90-something degree days. You've got to stay hydrated. And I've learned a lot about coffee in the past couple of months. And that's because we basically have an on-hand barista in Mike Jackson. Mike Jackson is that guy that if you have a coffee question, he's who you can trust. Mike, how we doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you, Justin?
Another day in paradise, sir. So you were at this groundbreaking event yesterday in Troutman. Tell me about it.
Well, it was great. It was, I'd say there were at least 50 people there. We had Melissa Nieder, the chair of the Iredell Board of Commissioners. Troutman Mayor Ross W. Young was there. Jeff McNeely was supposed to be there, but he couldn't make it, so they just read his remarks, which were very nice. It was quite a day.
And did you have fun?
I did. I met a lot of people, and it was really fun.
See, Mike Jackson's that guy as the news director, right? Like, so this is one of your moves, Mike, that I love. You managed to slip that WSIC microphone into people's hands and just get that quote. Just
Yeah.
get that quote. So did you
Yeah.
record the whole thing, or what was that like? Like, did the microphone go off without a hitch for you? How'd it go?
Oh, it went great. I did record the entire thing, only, but but I couldn't use but a couple of clips because of the time frame in the news. So, yeah, I did record the entire thing.
Mike, how long have
Yeah,
you
and
lived in the area?
I've lived here since 1993.
Okay,
So that's what.
1993. Was it all farmland whenever you moved here?
Yes, mostly farmland, and at the exit where you're at right now in the studio there in Cornelius, there was nothing but a steak and egg. It was a little fast food place right off the exit there, and nothing else was there. It was pretty desolate.
That sounds like a pretty good place. We should probably bring that back, right? Steak and egg. Like, if that's still available, like, hey, who's the restaurateur that could bring that back? I'd support that.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. It was really, there wasn't a whole lot of businesses in the area, and obviously in the last 30 years, it's just taken off like crazy, and we get new restaurants opening every day.
And that's great because I think people enjoy that quality of life of going out and enjoying like the many different cultural aspects and the different varieties you can get. What are you seeing? Because you actually live in the Mooresville area. So what are you seeing like as Mooresville continues to develop and how all the towns and cities are all connected, right? Because like me, you drive back and forth, right? You're in Troutman, you're in Mooresville, you're in Cornelius, Huntersville, Statesville, all the way north of Iredell. What's that been like for you as all of the different areas continue to grow? What's that perspective like for you?
Well, it has grown a lot. It's interesting to see the different dynamics with different towns. Like I believe Huntersville is trying to kind of basically put a pause on some of the new development, which is understandable. Cornelius progressing right along under Mayor Washam, um, and Mooresville now celebrating their 150th anniversary, and it's been busy with all kinds of activities. It's good to see the town so involved in its history. The I enjoy just kind of driving around between the different areas. It was nice to meet Bill yesterday at the studio in Cornelius.
Bill the Buffer. You're talking
And
about Bill the Buffer.
yeah, Bill the Buffer. Yeah, yeah. And I was listening when Todd Starnes went off. That was funny. I mean, well, it wasn't funny from a technical standpoint, but it was
Thanks,
like
Mike.
Bill
Thanks,
just
Mike.
didn't. Bill he was the saint, though. I mean, he really handled it well, and then you guys got on together, and yeah, it really went well. But I thought that he did a good job. I was like, who's this new host?
That's right.
But it
He
was
is a new
good.
host, right? That's what a lot of people think. I got a lot of calls. What happened to Todd Starnes? And no, it was just a technical glitch in the day. Mike, so I came through like a storm to the team starting in April with, hey, we're gonna start ramping up. We're gonna refresh. We're gonna rebrand. So tell people the honest truth about this process and the pain I've put you through over the past couple of months. What's your take on kind of the direction we're going? What if you could surmise what the sound is that we're going for? How would you describe that?
Okay. I would describe it as a fresh, contemporary sound with that focuses on the community. Um, it has some national programming and national politics involved, but for the most part, during the shows that WSIC hosts, it's all local community stuff. And by the way, I'm not just saying this because you're my boss, but you're doing a great job involving people in the community in your show in the mornings. And it's been a real pleasure to listen to a great morning show for Lake Norman for finally. It's been way overdue. And I like seeing Lake Norman be more involved with what we're doing or what we're doing with Lake Norman. It's been a great ride so far, and I'm looking forward even more to having more community involvement in the future. You know, going out to different events like the orchestra playing at the symphony in the park. That's what I was trying to say. That kind of thing. It's going to be great to be more involved in the community. And as far as what he's put me through, folks, it's been funny. Not funny, but it's actually been fun. I love to edit, and so Justin has a friend that is the new promo voice for the station. His name is Dave, and he does a bang up job. And I've had Dave go through the ringer for me to do a lot of new imaging that you hear all through the day with the voice that says you're listening to WSIC News Talk now. That guy, he's done a lot of stuff, and we've thrown it together in a fast fashion very quickly.
Well, I appreciate you let me mess up your day a bit, Mike, and I appreciate you calling in. You hit the mark
Hey, no
perfectly,
problem.
Mike, and looking forward to the continued top-notch news. You know, people want local news, Mike. You know, people love
Yeah.
the local news, and so if someone's got a story, they need to send it to you. News at WSICnews.com. If they got something going on that they want the community or think the community should know about, well, then Mike Jackson can run with that story. And so news at
Yep.
WSICnews.com, shoot it over to Mike, and then he will do what he can to tell people about it because we want to keep the local community
Yeah.
informed. But we're not able to do that if the local community doesn't talk to us. Like, yeah, we're radio, we're present in the entire community, but we can't do this without you as a listener, as a resident, as a contributing member of society. And so contribute to what is going on in the local community by letting us know. Mike, appreciate all that you do, sir. And I have no doubt I will talk to you multiple times today.
Yes, sir.
All
Have
right.
a good one.
Take care. All right, Mike Jackson, our news director, also handles a lot of the imaging, production, those kinds of things. And the team is evolving. There's some new players that are coming on starting next month as well to help as we grow and we revamp and we revitalize. And we keep going with the wonderful history. 75 years WSIC's been on. That's not a short amount of time. That's generational. This is a generational station. And I will never shy away from looking out for the next generation. That's not going to stop. A lot of people like to say the old millennials, the millennials aren't ready for it. The millennials aren't ready for it. We're out here, and we want to hang out with everybody. I love hanging out with people that are smarter than me. And there's people that are older than me that are smarter than me, and there's people that are younger than me that are smarter than me. So don't go discriminating on age. That's a protected class. I'll call you on that too. Don't go discriminating on age. That goes for everybody, myself included. Keep me accountable. You know what? I forgot to ask Mike before he left. I'm going to find out. Mike, text me real quick. Are you a Marvel guy or a DC guy? I should have asked him. Marvel or DC? You know, at one point I was Spider-Man. As a young child, Spider-Man for me was top notch. There's just something that hit, you know, once you really get into origin stories in that comic world, something just about Batman just clicked. My mom got me like some new swim trunks the other day, and they were Batman, because she got me like this Captain America thing, this shield. She got me like this legit shield, and like I was like, oh, that's cool, Mom. And like she was like kind of disappointed, like, well, you're not like excited about it. I'm thinking to myself, Mom, at what point did I say Captain America was my dude? I just don't remember that. I mean, I'm not saying I don't like Captain America. Look, he doesn't like Captain America. He doesn't like Captain America. No, I mean, I like Captain America. I'm just saying I'm allowed to pick my favorite superhero. Don't try to put me in a box. Don't let anybody put you in a box. Don't let anybody ever try to shame you for trying to live your best life. Because they're all playing a game. We're just going to play it better. Why do you think so many people hate Trump? He beat them at their own game. First time. Like, hey, I'm gonna run for an office once, and it's gonna be president. And he won. And then so this onslaught of hate. Sometimes that can happen in the local community too. Show a little kindness. Show a little grace. Because there's only one person who's perfect. And he's going to be coming back soon. Pat Shannon's on deck. If you've got something you want to buy, sell, trade, got a birthday, anniversary, give Pat Shannon a call. He's coming up in Studio C. Love that show. I love you, Pat. I love y'all. Good morning, LKN. We'll see you tomorrow.